Hey everyone, this is Desiree from Pinnacle Training Systems, and we are back with another video. In today's video, we're going to explore an essential topic when it comes to injury prevention and rehabilitation for every human as they age or as they go through some type of injury. And that is going to be the lack of mobility and range of motion at each of the joints in the body. This will be the last of our three-part video series where we have been breaking down mobility routines from the different sections of our bodies. This video will be an accumulation of the first two videos into a full body mobility routine aimed at bringing the routines together into one complete routine. The goal of this video is to provide you with the proper information when it comes to forming a full body mobility routine, as well as to provide you with ways to improve your range of motion in all movements in your body. So what is a full body mobility? This is the ability to physically get all parts of the body into the right position and accurately move in an intended pattern, or also referred to as your biomechanical efficiency in alignment and movement. In other words, do you have the range of motion, flexibility, and neuromuscular coordination to perform an exercise or task with the proper form? Three components when it comes to mobility, and we're going to look at flexibility of the soft tissue, the range of motion at the joints, and neurological conditions of movement patterns. So let's revisit the difference between mobility and flexibility. Flexibility refers to the muscle's abilities to lengthen. Mobility, on the other hand, is the ability of the joint to move through its full range of motion. While they both refer to overall range of motion, it's important to know where the limitation is coming from. What are the three most common things needed to improve mobility? First is going to be soft tissue therapy, also known as SMR. This means that you're going to be rolling out any scar tissues and kinks in the body, and we see this done through foam rolling. Next is going to be restoring the full range of motion, getting your body back to the normal range of motion, and this can be done through just typical stretching. Lastly, we're going to retrain the neurological pattern of movement, so we're going to retrain the brain to allow for new and different types of movements. Prevalence of problems due to lack of full body mobility. It's estimated that 19 million people, that's going to be 10.1%, reported some mobility difficulty. The mean age of those with minor, moderate, and major difficulty ranged from 59 to 67 years old. 32% said that their problems began at age 50 years or younger. Reports of mobility difficulties are common, including mostly among middle-aged adults. Associations with poor performance and of daily activities, injury, depression, anxiety, and poverty highlight the need of the comprehensive care for persons with mobility problems. Now let's look at the benefits of a full body mobility routine. You're going to have a greater joint range of motion and freedom of movement, improve circulation, decrease risk of injury, reduce muscle tension and soreness, improve posture, you're going to have a great stress relief, and it's improved movement efficiency. Other health benefits include doing exercises and warm-ups specifically aimed at mobility, range of motion in the body can help reduce pain and improve overall movement in all joints in the upper body. This is essential to maintaining joint health and reducing risk of injury when we work out. Alright guys, take charge of your health. Make sure that you take care of your full body mobility, whether you're doing upper mobility, lower mobility, or full body mobility workout, so that you reduce the chance of dealing with pesky injuries, and to ensure that you're able to do the same things you did in adolescence all the way through adulthood from a range of motion standpoint. Now, Jordan's going to take you through a full body mobility routine.
So kind of put everything together, upper body, lower body. If you really want to get a whole workout, you don't have that many times to do mobility in the week, and you really want to focus on everything at once because you have the time to do it, the thing you want to do is you want to focus on stretching each part of the body in a timed manner on a limited number of reps to make sure you get everything down. So what this can be is 2 to 3 sets of each of these workouts. It can be either 20 to 60 seconds depending on what kind of stretch or movement it is, or 10 reps. So what we'll start with is the neck. Kind of similar to the upper body. What you're going to do is you can do neck rotations, bringing that chin to each opposite shoulder, chin tucks, flexion and extension of the neck. Remember, you can either do this for 15 seconds up to 60, not for this one though, or you can do it for 10 to 12 reps. Rotations. About 10 times each direction. After that, you'll finish your neck, you'll go to the shoulder. With shoulders, you can start with some arm circles. Good way to get the rotator cuff moving and active. Then, upward and backward swings. Brings your shoulder into flexion, extension. Lateral shoulder raises. So our next trunk stability workout is going to be bird dog. You'll be on all fours. You'll bring your right hand up and at the same time bring your left leg up, opposites. And you repeat this. You should focus on doing it for about 15 seconds or 5 times each side. 2 to 3 sets. After that, the next workout for trunk is you can just have your hands on your side, just like in the past video. Bring your elbows to your opposite sides. Focus on that trunk flexion. Trunk lateral flexion. Now we're working on the wrist for your full body mobility routine. First, we're going to start with something simple. Just rotating the wrist inwards. Simple wrist rotations, then you can switch them to outwards. Now you can focus on bringing your wrist inside. Wrist flexion. Flipping your fist around. Back of your hands facing upward. Just bringing your knuckles towards your upper body. There you go. Now that's wrist extension. Different stretches you can do is you need to do the flexor stretch, which is pulling your fingers toward your shoulder. Hold that for about 15 seconds. Switch hands. Now flip your hands backwards, palms facing up, and then pull your fingers toward the back of your arm. You should feel your flexors being stretched in the front. Now we're going to do individual stretches for each independent finger. So the goal of what you're going to do is have your fingers separate. You're going to pull your thumb towards you. Hold it there for 5 seconds. Switch, tuck the thumb in. Now have these fingers. Focus on the other fingers going the different direction from the finger you're stretching. You should feel a stretch right in between the fingers that's being stretched. I bring that finger in. Go down each individual finger. Focus on the stretch. 5 seconds each. Once you do that, repeat it on the other hand, and that'll be it for your wrist and finger mobility stretch. Now we're going to go lower in the body. Now we're going to focus on the lower back. So when it comes to lower back, it's a very interesting thing to stretch. One of the workouts you can do are what are called knee supine rotations. You'd have your knees tucked. You're just going to bring your knees slowly to one side, bring it back to middle, and repeat this same motion back and forth as one about 10 times. The key is you want to keep your upper shoulder blades flat on the ground as your lower part of your body does all the rotation. It's a really good core workout as well, and a really good way to strengthen the back and the core. So the next part of our full body mobility will be focused on the hips specifically. So what we're going to do for the hips is we're going to start with the hip rotation drill. It's going to focus on internally and externally rotating your hips at the same time, which helps with hip mobility. What you're going to do is similar to the lower back knee supine rotation, you're going to do the hip rotation in a similar way, but instead you're going to bring each knee downward like this. When you bring it up, go back to normal. You just focus on separating the knee, laying this leg flat, and this leg on top, basically. As you can see right here, if I take it slow, you'll feel internal rotation right here, and you'll feel an external rotation of the hip on the leg that's closest to the floor. Repeat that back and forth as one, about 8 to 10 times, and that'll be it for that one. The next stretch is the lunging stretch. Everybody's used to this one, who's done this at some point in their life usually. What you're gonna do is you're gonna lean forward. You feel a stretch right here in the hip of the leg that's on the ground, going backwards. You'll switch. You're gonna hold each of these for about 20 to 30 seconds. 2 to 3 sets. That's another hip drill. And then the last hip mobility will be diver plunges. So diver plunges are a way to really put your hip into flexion and extension at the same time. So what you're going to do is you're going to dip your head down, bring your chest to the mat, come up, and then you're going to bring your head down again, like you're in child pose. Dive back down, hips up, back to child pose, hip flexion. Back down, hip extension, and then continue that motion for about 10 reps, which you'll notice you'll start to feel your hips loosen up a little bit, and helps to really feel what it feels to engage your hips in a full range of motion. That'll be it for the hip mobility part of the full body mobility routine. All right, so this last part, I'm gonna go over the knee, ankle, and toe mobility parts of the full body mobility routine. I have 3 specific workouts. First, I have lateral lunges, then I have VAW squats, followed by ankle rocks. First, we'll start with the lateral lunges, which is good for ankle mobility and aligning your knees with your toes, as well as working that side-to-side movement in the body. What you're gonna do is have your hands closed and tight, step out to the side, put all the weight on one side of your body, come back, and you'll go to the other side, come back, boom, come back, boom, come back. You don't want to lean too far where you're falling over. You want to be able to step out, drop your body weight. You can even have this foot going all the way on this part of your body more. Back and forth is 1. Try to do it 10 times. 2 to 3 sets. Next, we will go to the VAW squats. So this one's a little different. A lot of people haven't done it. It's basically a good way to align yourself in a proper squat if you're not really familiar with it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with the V.